Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3, check, check. ಪ್ರಭು ಸರ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಚೆಕ್ 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 ಚೆಕ್. ನಿಮಗೆ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಸರ್? Check, check. 1, 2, 3, check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3, check, check. ಸರ್ ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ, ಆಡಿಯೋ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ.
ನಂಗಾಡ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲೇ ಅವಳ ಮುಂದೆನೇ
ಶೆಟ್ಟಿ ಶೆಟ್ಟಿ
ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಿರರಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನೇನೋ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ನೋಡಿ ನೀನು ಹೊಡೆದಿದ್ದು ಹಾಂ ಹಾಂ ನಡೀತಿದ್ಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಅದು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಏನೋ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ. ಅದೇ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು. ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು? ಅದನ್ನೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಹಾಂ ಸರ್, ಸರ್ ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಾಪ್ ಹಾಂ ಸರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ नेटवर्क पब्लिक असेल तो नेटवर्क
ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರಭುಜಿ, ಪ್ರಭು ಸರ್, ಬಂದಿಲ್ವಾ? ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿ ಫುಲ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಓಕೆ. ಇದೇ ಲೈನ್ ಬರ್ತಾವೆ. ಹಾಂ ಬಿಡಿ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಟು ಯು ಪಿ ಟಿ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅದು?
ಸರ್ ಪಿ ಪಿ ಟಿ
ನನಗೆ ಅದು ಅಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ಬಾರ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದೇ ಬರ್ತದೆ ನನಗೆ. ಇದು ಒಂದೇ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್. ಹೌದು. ಫುಲ್ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್
ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಬರೀ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಕ್ಯಾನ್ವಸ್ ಮೂರನೇ ಸ್ಲೈಡು ಬೇಕು.
ತಡಿ, ಇದ್ರದ್ದು ನೋಡು, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವೀಡಿಯೋ ಥರ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಪಿಕ್ಸೆಲ್ ಸರ್ಕಲ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದು
ವಿಡಿಯೋ
ಆ ಪಿಕ್ಸೆಲ್ ಸರ್ಕಲ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದು ಅದು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್.
ಸೌಂಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಸೌಂಡ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಸೌಂಡ್ ಏನೈತೆ? ಅದು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೌಂಡಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಎಜ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿ, ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೌಂಡ್ ಏನು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಜ್ ಎಮ್ ಎಸ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಬರೀ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಜ್ ಎಮ್ ಎಸ್ ಇವಾಗ ಪ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿ. ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಂದಿಲ್ವಾ? ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವ್ನು ಇದಾನಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ನು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ವಾ? ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಪ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿ. ಇದಾಕೋ, ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಒಂದಿಗಿದೆ ನೋಡೋದು. ಇವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಅದೇ ಹೇಳೋದು, ಇವಾಗ ಏನೋ ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಬೇಡಿ, ಅದು ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ನೇ ಕೊಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಸೊ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಿದೆ ನಾನು ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಔಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಸೊ ಲೋಕಲಿಗೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಎಚ್ ಎಮ್ ಎಫ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಈಗ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಹೌದು 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 ಅದೇ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಮಾತ್ರ ನೀವು ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಕ್ಯಾಮರಾ ಆಡಿಯೋ ಇದೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದು 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 ಕ್ಯಾಮರಾ ಆಡಿಯೋ ಆಫೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಸರಿ ಸರ್. ಇವಾಗ ಏನು ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇರಿ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಎಚ್ ಎಮ್ ಎನ್ ತೆಗಿಬೇಡಿ, ಅದು ತೆಗಿಬೇಡಿ. ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಯಾರು ಬಿಜಿ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಪ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅದೇ ನಾವು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತೀನಿ. ಹಾಂ ಈಗ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡೋದು, ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಾಪ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ತೆಗಿಬೇಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಮತ್ತು ನಾನು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಬರ್ದಿನ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ತೆಲುಗು. ಸರ ನಿಮ್ಮದು ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಯಾವಾಗ ಪ್ಲೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಯಾವಾಗ ಪ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ರೋಹನ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಯಾವಾಗ ಪ್ಲೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ?
5 to 10 ಅವ್ರ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು.
ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಇದು ಕಿತ್ತಾಗ್ಬಿಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆಡಿಯೋ
ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಸ್ ಅದು ಆಫ್ ಆಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಲ್ಯಾಪ್ಟಾಪ್ ಇದು ಅದು ನಾವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪವರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಪವರ್ ಗ್ಲಾಸು ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಬೀಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ.
ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆದ ತಕ್ಷಣ
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Changemaker Society, I am delighted to welcome all of you, faculty, students, and enthusiasts of the natural world, to today's special chat show, a deep dive into the essence of biodiversity. At first glance, birdwatching and astronomy may seem entirely different. One has us gazing at the night sky while other draws our attention to the forests and fields. Yet both are driven by the same spirit, curiosity, careful observation, and a desire to understand the world around us. We are privileged to have with us two distinguished speakers who embody the spirit of exploration. Dr. Ramana M. Atreya, who is an astronomer by training and an avid bird watcher. His interest is wide-ranging, from studying astrophysical phenomena at low radio frequency to understanding patterns of biodiversity and the process of speciation. Dr. Atreya brings a unique perspective on how observation, patience, and curiosity can reach and reveal the hidden intricacies of both cosmos and the natural world. Let's have a huge applause for Atreya, sir. Joining him is our very own Dean of Student Affairs, Dr. V. Krishna. Dr. Krishna has been deeply involved in fostering student engagement, promoting holistic development, and creating platforms for meaningful conversations on research, creativity, and social impact. Today, he will share his insights on how curiosity and exploration can inspire awareness and action in our daily lives. In this session, our speakers will share our experiences, field stories, and reflection on how act of observing, whether the stars above or the birds around us, can deepen the understanding of biodiversity and our connection with the world. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Ramana M. Atreya and Dr. V. Krishna. So we have a small introductory video for Ramana sir, which Team Pixels have made. We want to display that as well. Thank you, Pixels, for those wonderful video. I request the speakers of today to be on stage. Please welcome them with a round of warm applause.
not on yet. Maybe you need to switch it on.
Hello, hello, yeah. Thank you. Am I audible? Thank you. Good evening and very warm welcome for today's unique chat session presented to you by the Changemaker Society of PES University. It's to meet a person who has so much of varied interests as our speaker for today, Dr. Ramana M. Mathreya.
My name is Ramana. I hope you're not forgotten that.
How can I forget it? The pause was with an intention. As we finish more than 50 years of meaningful existence at the portals of PES, what started in 1972 with 40 students in a rented gymnasium has grown into a mammoth empire today. That's the PES empire. And it wouldn't have been possible but for the relentless efforts of Professor M.R. Doreswamy, whom we would like to fondly recollect. That he is no more with us is something we seriously miss, but his legacy will continue to live on. So, recording our deep sense of gratitude to Dr. Doreswamy and his inspirational efforts towards starting this institution, we start the proceedings. I'd like to warmly welcome Dr. Ramana for this chat show. Thanks for making it, Ramana. It's been nice to have you here. I don't have a particular plan as such. I'd like to keep it as informal as possible. I do remember, when we were together in Vijaya High School, from that time, you would mention that you were not interested in engineering and you were more interested in pure science. And we would make fun of you. Yenappa, BSc ಮಾಡಿ ಮನೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಹಾಕೋತ್ಯಾ ಅಂತ. But I remember you were very focused on pure science even in 8th standard, 9th standard, which we were quite unable to fathom. Can you just give me an insight on what brought you into an appreciation of pure science as far back as in high school itself?
Thanks to PES for having me here, Changemakers. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be here with Krishna. Krishna and I go back a long way. We were together in Vijaya High School. We used to sit next to each other.
Yeah, do a lot of mischief pranks.
We used to sit next to each other and the teachers would make us stand up on the bench together. And, but yeah, it's good to be here, Krishna.
Yeah,
coming to your question, I think looking back to think of separating the basic sciences from engineering, in some sense, was a mistake.
okay.
The real division was about how to be curious. And we know, of course, many great engineers who are curious and showed us a lot about about the world around us. And there were many great engineers who did a lot of wonderful inventions and discoveries, which has made our life so rich. So in that sense, I think to talk then as I did about wanting to do basic sciences and not engineering was really in terms of a lack of appreciation of the depths of each field.
Okay.
Right? But having said that, one of the reasons why I was so fascinated by the basic sciences was to do with one of our teachers that we both discussed today, Dr. L. Hanumanthaiah. I think he was an inspiration. He more than encouraging me to think of a career in basic sciences, I think he encouraged, what I gathered from him was the desire to do something in life, more than just whether in basic sciences or engineering. And that is something which I've focused on all my life, that do what you want to do it well, focus and go deep into it. And I think that is really I would say the division, that's really what demarcates being able to achieve something good and being still useful. Again, I don't want to say there's the only way of being good citizens of this world, but yeah, commitment, going deep into any subject, whether engineering or science, is an important aspect, and I've tried to follow that as much as possible. Yeah.
Okay, I do remember, just to inform the students out here, back in 1984, when we just came out of the 12th standard, that is second PUC, I remember Ramana getting the 179th rank or something in joint entrance examination for IITs. And he got a seat in electronics in IIT Kanpur. And there was no computer science and engineering in 1984. And electronics was the chosen field, the topmost. And we were wondering what he will do, because he was always interested in pure science, and he got a seat in electronics at IIT Kanpur. Can we reduce this hum? There is a okay. He went over to IIT Kanpur, and within a year he got it changed to MSc Physics. We were aghast. Okay, please tell us your journey. In that 1 year, I'm sure you had your focus. You didn't want to do electronics engineering. I mean, how did you make a choice like that?
Oh, that was actually quite easy. This is switched off, but yeah, my voice is naturally loud, and I think I can continue with that. Choice was actually quite simple. There was a large amount of worry in the family that I would choose the wrong subject and go into physics. So it was a simple negotiation with my family that since I got a high enough rank to join electrical, I should do so. And if I really didn't like continuing in electrical after a year, they said, you can do what you want after that.
Okay.
So, which was also the reason why I chose Kanpur over IIT Madras.
Okay.
Because Madras did not have a 5-year physics course.
Physics course, okay.
Whereas Kanpur did. So it was actually a simple thing. I said, okay, family has been very good to me, and so I spent 1 year conceding to them, comforting them by saying, yes, let me try this. And after a year, I changed to physics, which is what I intended to do. But again, I think sometimes we don't always realize the choice we make. I spent 5 years as a physicist, and sometimes I think had I stuck to electrical engineering, it would have been far more useful for me in terms of being a radio astronomer, because as a radio astronomer, understanding that as a radio astronomer, understanding the electronics of a radio telescope gives you far more insights into how to push the instrument and research to its deepest ability. So in that sense, in hindsight, I would have said it made no difference that I became a physicist.
Okay.
In fact, two of my seniors in electrical engineering in IIT Kanpur moved into radio astronomy.
Okay.
One of them is the director of TIFR now,
Wow.
an electrical engineer. He became a radio astronomer. And another one is the director of the radio telescope in Pune. So again, I go back to my original statement that sometimes we make choices which is okay, which is good to make choices, but we don't always make choices with full knowledge of what we are getting into.
Right.
So in that sense, whether I'd stuck to electrical engineering or to physics, I would still have become an astronomer. And it's not that I regret that I went into physics. It's a different perspective of astronomy. But that's one. I think the point also I want to make is that you don't have to confine yourself to what you started out with. You can do multiple things based on what your interests are, what you think you're willing to commit a lot of effort and mind space towards. It's good enough to get into whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Tell us something about your journey beyond your MSc and PhD. You have lived your life in some of the most exotic locales. I think in South America, Central America. Can you describe those places and your journey there and how it made a difference to your whole perspective of the world?
So my journey actually, curiously enough, began journey in the other aspect of my life that I've worked a lot on, which is natural history, actually began somewhat ironically with Krishna. I'm not talking to you now, I'm talking to the audience. There used to be a gentleman called Srinath, M.K. Srinath. Most of you are too young to have heard of him.
Right.
He used to run a organization called the Animal Zoo, Animal Rescue and Rehabilitation Center, not far from this place. Those days in the 80s, early 80s, 81, 82, all of this area was a barren, open fields. There were no buildings at all. Srinath was known as the snake man of Bangalore. He would carry snakes in his pocket, giving demonstrations in schools and colleges. He came to our school, Vijaya High School, and both Krishna and I, we signed up to go for a wildlife camp in Kemangundi.
Oh, Kemangundi.
Kemangundi near Chikmagalur. That was my first introduction to natural history. So I think when I came back, when I went there, I was fascinated by birds.
Right.
And I continued with that. And in fact, when I had to make a choice when I was 18 years old of which subject I wanted to graduate in, the more difficult choice was not between engineering and physics, but it was between ecology and physics, because I truly enjoyed it. The only reason I chose physics was I suspected, and probably this was true, that as a physicist I could perhaps do a lot more of serious work in ecology and natural history than as an ecologist what I would be able to contribute to astronomy. So in that sense, that was probably the right choice.
Okay.
I think in 1984, St. Joseph's offered the first environmental science course. There was no ecology course then. Ecology was not as often used as a word as it is today. There was an environmental science course, and some of our classmates joined there, or at least some of the other people that we knew in that age group. So I thought that was a sharp division, that I had to choose between one or the other. But fortunately, I continued to maintain my interest in natural history as an amateur naturalist. After my PhD in astronomy, I went to first France, Paris for a postdoctoral fellowship. And from there, I had an opportunity to go to South America to work on the telescopes in Chile. Chile has a desert high altitude desert. You must have heard of it, the Atacama Desert, where some of the best telescopes in the world from European and American institutions are put up in Chile. And the nice thing for me was in Chile, it gave me a great opportunity to roam through the wilderness of South America. So I think that was sort of a good introduction. Or that was a good way of sustaining my interest in, as you said, seeing some very exotic places. Apart from indulging in my own interest in bird watching, natural history, photography, I was also getting more and more interested in conservation, about how to save the diversity which had given me so much of pleasure throughout my childhood and my adolescence. And as a tourist in South America, I realized the many ways in which tourists can contribute to conservation of biodiversity. And so I learned a lot of lessons during my stay in South America, and when I came back to India, I came back as a faculty at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, at the same place where I did my PhD as a radio astronomer. And fortunately, TIFR gave me the liberty to spend a lot of my time on vacation working on a conservation project in Arunachal Pradesh. So that's how the long-term interest as an amateur naturalist evolved into a conservation project. And in 2009, again, I mean, one of the threads of my life has been that a lot of people have stepped in to help me at various stages in my life. As I said, TIFR was very generous in letting me go and work in conservation. And in 2009, there's an institution called ISER in Pune, Indian Institute of Science Education Research. Ministry of Education is an autonomous institution. They said, even though I didn't have any degree in biology or ecology, they were happy to offer me a faculty position in biology and in physics. So with that, I could formally have master's project students, PhD students, and since then I've been doing research in ecology as well. So the choice that I thought I had made, which was set in stone in 1984, between ecology and physics, fortunately ISER stepped in to say that, look, we don't have to worry about these divisions. As long as you're doing good work, we are happy to have you as faculty. And so since 2009, I've been working on formal research in ecology, in Arunachal Pradesh mostly, well, almost entirely. And so that's been my journey from a birding enthusiast to a more serious naturalist to a conservation projects to a formal ecologist. Yeah.
I do remember, I mean, this has been narrated by some friends. In TIFR, when you were in TIFR, or probably you returned or something, if there was a snake found in the campus and it was, I mean, we don't know whether it's a poisonous snake or not, then they will say, please call Ramana. He will recognize whether it's a poisonous snake or not. Now, please tell us something about your fascination for the reptile world.
It was not as much fascination for specifically reptiles as an interest in anything to do with the natural world.
Okay.
And as I said, the moving spirit, how shall I put it? The inspiration behind this was Mr. Srinath.
Okay.
He's very sadly not with us. And he was the man who first showed us that snakes are not all dangerous. In fact, there are very few of them who are actually poisonous or dangerous. And from that, it was a small step to say that, look, if somebody finds a snake, which in all probability is harmless, and in all cases are more likely to be more scared of us than we are of them. So maybe if one can easily catch a snake and release it somewhere else, it's the appropriate thing to take the snake away from people who are scared and put it in a place where neither the snake has to be worried about people nor people are worried about snakes. So that was a simple thing.
Now, how do you recognize a poisonous one from a non-poisonous snake? Do you have
Oh,
some?
No,
Thumbnail
it's
rules?
if you get familiar with the species, you first identify the species and you know which species are poisonous and which are non-poisonous.
It comes through experience.
It comes through experience, and it comes through, there are no special traits which, or a color pattern which says this snake is poisonous or this is not.
Okay.
So I know a snake is poisonous. In fact, this is generally true of every snake expert, that they first know what snake it is, variety, and then that they know whether it's poisonous or not.
Okay.
There is no defining feature which says this snake is poisonous or this is not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to my other important fascination about your life. You are credited with discovering an important species of bird in Arunachal Pradesh. I forget the name of that.
It's called the Bugun Leochikla.
Come again?
Bugun Leochikla.
Okay, Bugun Leochitra.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who gave this name?
So in 2000, I saw this bird for the first time when I went to Arunachal Pradesh in 1995. I was there on a bird watching vacation, and I saw a bird which I didn't recognize. I came back knowing that it was a bird which had not been described anywhere before, but I couldn't get any more evidence of that. So when I went back to the same place to start a conservation project in 2003, the thing I wanted to start there was, so let me rewind that back. When I was working in South America, a large part of what I learned was that, well, again, taking a step back, during the early 2000s, the prevailing notion was that somehow tourism can be made to become a vehicle for conservation,
Okay.
right? Primarily because most of the people living on the edge of very good wilderness areas were tribal communities, usually on the margins, economic margins of societies, usually socio-economically very backward. And it was felt that tourism could be one vehicle for bringing such communities into the mainstream, so that, you know, they would get exposure, they would earn some money, and therefore that would provide them an incentive to save the wildlife in their backyard. This was the general notion. But one of the things I realized when I was in South America was that too often this didn't actually happen. Even though tourism, especially wildlife tourism, or to use a phrase used nowadays, ecotourism, even though ecotourism was proposed as a vehicle for conservation, I realized that much of the money which was earned from ecotourism actually remained in the hands of big tour operators in cities, and cities in New York or London or Bombay or Delhi. Very little of the money actually went to the people who were being asked to conserve the wildlife, and I felt that, so my trip in South America was my stay in South America was very useful in trying to understand what was not working in this paradigm of using conservation for tourism for conservation. So when I came to work in Arunachal Pradesh, I wanted to implement some of these ideas. So I started working with the tribal community called the Bugun community.
Oh, Bugun community.
They lived on the edge of the sanctuary called Eagle Nest Wildlife Sanctuary. And so when I discovered this new species of bird, it's only found in that one small patch of forest in Arunachal Pradesh. So its entire range in the world is just that one small patch of forest. I felt it is more appropriate to credit the tribal community, to commemorate their efforts in protecting that area, and therefore I named this bird after them. So Bugun Leochikla. Leochikla is the group of birds. There are 4 different species in the world.
Okay.
And this particular species in that group, I named it after the Bugun tribe. Yeah.
Bugun Chikla.
It's also a way of telling them that, this is now your bird, and it's up to you to protect its area, protect its habitat, and so on. Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about your interest in biodiversity. Now let's go back to your primary focus of academics, the radio astronomy. Quite a few students out here would like to know what are the new trends in radio astronomy, and is there a career ahead in radio astronomy today?
So there is always a career in all fields of research.
Okay.
One of the things we have learned over the last 150 years is this world around us is like an onion. You think you've learned one aspect of it, it's like a layer. You peel off the outer layer, it's not like you've reached the core of the onion, you just reach the layer below. In fact, one of the things which I tell a lot of my students when I teach is that in 1893, 130 years ago, one of the physicists of that era said, look, we've learned all that there is to learn about the universe, the physics of the universe, and all that is left now is chemistry. Right? And the reason I say 1893 is because 3 years later they discovered something called the electron. So even before the electron had been discovered, physicists are very arrogant in some sense. They think they've learned everything about the world, everything else is a matter of detail, or they think they have theory for everything, the string theory. So there is this belief that, every generation believes that, or every 30, 40 years we believe that we've learned everything about the universe. But if you look at the history of science, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Right? Remember, even before the electron was discovered, physicists thought they had understood everything about the universe. Right? So I suspect that will continue to be true throughout for the next 500 years is my guess. Yeah.
No, just asking the question again. What are the frontiers of radio astronomy today? I mean,
I only answered one part of your question. Radio astronomy is moving into an era of large-scale international collaboration.
Okay.
So telescopes typically used to be like 50 years ago, telescope used to be like one large radio dish, like a radio antenna. In radio astronomy, in optical astronomy, you see visible light and you make images of the universe in visible light. In radio astronomy, you make images of the universe in radio waves. As you know, radio waves and optical light are both electromagnetic waves. So you can image the universe in both of these. So your telescopes used to be 10 meters or 50 meters or 100 meters and so on. So around the 1980s, you started putting together large groups of such telescopes, right? To construct a larger telescope. So instead of having one radio antenna, people started putting together multiple radio antennas. So there were such telescopes in Netherlands, in the US, first started in UK, Great Britain. In fact, in late 1990s and early 2000s, India had the most sensitive and largest such radio telescope in the world, which is where I used to work, where I did my PhD. It's north of Pune. So that radio telescope had 30 antennas. Each antenna was 45 meters square in diameter. So somebody can do the arithmetic. It's of the order of 10,000 square meters, right? But now they're building a radio telescope consisting of a few thousand antennas with a total area of 1 square kilometer. That's 1 million square meter area. Because the larger the collecting area of a telescope, the more sensitive it is. So these two telescopes are coming up, one in Australia and one in South Africa. India is contributing to that in a big way. So even the construction of the telescope will take 10 years or so, right? You're talking about, you're really talking about the frontiers of technology in front of, in fact, this is the kind of stuff which is built not by physicists, but they're all built by engineers. Because the data rate, the imaging capability, the computational power, the bandwidth, all of these is, and the electronics that you use. So one of the things is that you want electronics which are very cold. In terms of the power running through the electronics, I'm sure many people in the electrical department here know that you can associate a temperature with all electronic components, right? The power temperature. So you want them to be very low so that you can actually detect hot objects in the sky. So you're talking of extremely what are called low noise amplifiers, which is the term which is used. And so all these telescopes are actually built by engineers, which is why, as I said, maybe if I had remained an electronic engineer in my undergraduate days, I would have been perhaps a better telescope astronomer, actually. So there is an immense amount of potential. India is contributing to this effort. It's one of the 10 or 11 countries. You can see that a telescope like that would cost about $2 billion or $3 billion. So you're talking a huge amount of money, and in the current world, no single country can afford to put aside that kind of money, but still governments realize that such research is important, if only to push technology. In fact, a lot of what astronomy has done has pushed technology in the engineering sciences.
Okay.
So engineers who are interested in contributing to basic research, there's a large amount of potential in such endeavors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming over to a completely different topic, I'm sure some of you would be interested. I remember in the high school, you used to make a mention, God is a concept. And that you are not the type who would normally indulge in the sort of worship. You know, I come from a very conventional, traditional family, you know, with idol worship and all this. I remember you also came from a very deep, Hindu ritualistic family, but you grew up more as a rationalist, and probably your grandfather was into reading a lot of books, because I remember your grandfather's house full of books and all that. So even those days, you were very rational, and when you said God is a concept, it was beyond me. Has your opinion of God changed, and what is God?
Oh, that's a good question. I was going to ask you that question. I don't think we really have a... So I think there are 3 or 4 concepts that we all use. And if you ask 3 people what they mean, you get 7 different answers.
Okay.
Right? I think concepts like God...
a very emotive concept. See,
yeah,
the
God, love, beauty are very difficult concepts. We all think we know, but our own definition of it changes every few minutes or hours depending on the context. And you ask any different person, they'll give you different answers. We assume that everybody means the same when they use the word, but we don't actually do it.
Right.
And I think when I talk of God, I think God is I don't even know what it means, but if it makes people better, if it makes people more ethical, if the thought of God makes people contribute to society. One of the things I have definitely, belief I've definitely arrived at is that human beings are only human beings in a society.
Okay.
You aren't a human being if you're alone in a desert island. You're just like any other living being.
Okay.
But what makes you a human being is the human society. And without getting into the definition of God, whatever be your definition, if it makes you a better member of a society, I think it's good.
Okay, so that's
I know, I'm not sure if my answer was as controversial as you wanted it to be, but that is a real answer, right? That is an honest answer and a real answer.
Okay, so it's a vehicle, it's a means to an end.
I think there are many different means and ends here. One is at a societal level. One is at an individual level.
Right.
If what gives you peace and what gives you satisfaction, you want to call it God, I'm fine with it. Some of the most spiritual experiences I've had, and I use that word advisedly, is in listening to music. I mean, you understand this more than anybody else, right? I can listen to some phenomenal Carnatic music pieces or Hindustani or even Western classical music, and you're elevated to a plane beyond your everyday existence. And if that is what you want to call God, I have no argument with that. That is what I think Subbalakshmi sees God when she sings. And who am I to deny that this thing? And I think I know what she feels. Or maybe I don't know, maybe I feel a small part of what she feels. And if that is religious and God, it's as good a definition as any.
Okay, let's make it controversial. Do you believe in God?
You define it and I'll say yes or no.
Okay, what is your concept of God?
I think anything which helps you aspire to the best in each of us, in becoming a part of a useful part of a human society, is God, and I believe in that. Whatever makes you do that is good.
So, see, why I'm asking this, I know for a fact you're not a ritualistic person. Do you do any...
Ritual again is it's like, what is ritual? Ritual is a shared set of activities. You can't have an army without rituals.
Right.
The uniform is part of the rituals, the marching is part of the rituals, the salute is part of the rituals. They're all rituals.
Right.
You can't have a community without shared rituals. Now,
what are your rituals?
Sorry?
What are your rituals?
So, for example, saluting a flag is a ritual. It makes you part of a shared community of a country. Right? So if you're using ritual in a very narrow sense, yeah, I may or may not. But can we form a community without rituals? I don't agree. I don't think you can have a community without rituals, whether it's a change makers community, whether it's a religious community, whether it's a national community, whether it's a bird watchers community. I think rituals are a set of rules that we all agree to live with. We talk in a certain way, we dress in a certain way in a certain situation. It's all part of rituals of how a community is formed. And in that, I can see the importance of rituals, and I agree with those rituals.
I think it's a fantastic question. I don't know why I asked it. I hope the students get what Ramana is talking about, because most of the Gen Z don't understand the meaning of a ritual.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
I think we don't understand their rituals.
Okay, right. Let me be honest there also. We don't
I think
understand their
they're
rituals.
part of a community which understands each other's rituals. My daughter is in the generation.
Okay.
And they all understand each other's
Rituals.
They're part of it.
Okay.
And what I have understood is that there are rituals there.
There are, okay.
There are very hard and fast rules of rituals out there.
Okay.
You and I don't understand it.
Okay. I will accept that.
We can disagree or agree on how important those rituals are not, but that's really an age difference rather than...
Right, probably I admit it. So the sort of rituals we are used to are
Yes.
different.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So
Is that something that those of you here agree? That you have your own rituals? Exactly, yeah.
Good. No.
I mean, two of the rituals I know, and I find it strange every time he's hearing it, is when my daughter says, "Hey bro" and "Hey dude." And I keep saying, no, I'm not bro and I'm not dude, but that is part of the rituals. It's an identifying... I mean, this is a trivial one, but there are many things which we don't even notice, which is very much part of the rituals of that generation.
Okay.
And one of the rituals is to say, let me not worry about the future too much, and I don't think it's too bad. They're willing to try a lot of things.
Right.
They're willing to explore. They're willing to do things that we've never did. Again, that's part of the culture which has evolved from the rituals, or the interlink with the rituals. That's the way I look at it.
Wow, that's a fascinating answer. I'm sure you understand where the discussion is headed. I'm trying to bring in all perspectives out here. At this juncture, is there anybody who want to ask a question in this context?
So let me actually play a video of the work I did with Arunachal Pradesh. I'm quite proud of that work.
Yeah, please.
So let me show that video, 2 small videos of couple of minutes and 4 minutes each. I'll give you a perspective of what we are trying to do there.
Right.
That also is an invitation for those of you who want to contribute to such work to contact me. And also, you can ask questions, related to that kind of work. The first one is
introduction.
yes.
Do we turn around? No. I think it's going to come there.
I don't have to see it. You go there and see it. We can sit there.
No, because we may obstruct the...
So before you start the video, you starting it?
Yes, I'll start it.
So the first video,
Sir, you can come.
the first video was made in 2011, halfway, 1/3 of the way through the project. I leave it to you to recognize the name of the narrator speaking in the video. It is about our project. And the second video is a promotional video we've made of the work we've done over the last 20 years. That is spoken of by me. So you'll excuse the fact that I do blow a bit of our own trumpet in the second video. But yeah, so.
Populated and
Segment the moths, identify the moths, measure them so that we can do a lot of research with it, all kinds of different ecological research. So we need a AIML package for that, yeah.
Students interested? I see a very lukewarm response.
No, we just need one person, that's good enough.
Okay, before I invite the question and answer session, I think the team is ready and curated it. One last question from my end again. I remember the fierce debates. I think we have our close friend BK Vijendra out here.
Yeah.
In Vijaya High School, ours is one of the most vibrant batches that probably ever existed in Vijaya High School. Maybe, we don't know of the other ones. Even today, the Vijaya High School batch, the discussions that happen in the group is fantastic. I remember the fierce debates that you would have with one of our close friends, DK Mohan, on...
No, I don't think we should get into that question.
No, let me, because it does concern. It was about, see, DK Mohan was a fierce communist and Ramana was a capitalist. And there used to be endless debates on who is right. That DK Mohan is today earning a lot of money in being a capitalist is a different matter. But the fact remains that there were fierce debates. Now you tell me, Ramana, who are you? Capitalist, socialist, communist?
Well, I'll give two kinds of answers here. I think, actually I just give you one answer. Something I gave you, I'll give this to the people here. My father used to say, long time ago, he said that a person aged 20 who isn't a communist doesn't have a heart. A person who's aged 40 who is a communist doesn't have a brain. So I leave it with that.
Okay, well, what happens to me who is close to 60?
We can discuss philosophy.
Okay, one other question which I'm sure some of the students out here would be really interested. Well, is the Gen Z ready to accept this question? Okay, I remember you married at 22 after having loved a girl for 6 years.
No. You can't do that at 22 for 6 years.
Okay, okay, let me...
I married early, let me put it that way.
Yeah, you 22, right? 22 or 23?
22 years, 6 months and 12 days.
Oh, God.
When it's 22, the 12 days matter.
Right. I have some recollections of this discussion. What is love?
It's certainly not a discussion for an open sequence, partly because it's not always easy to define. It's really very, very person-specific and context-specific.
Right.
Yeah. I can see that you should have gotten into a TV presenter. Yeah.
No, the context is because there is a confused notion of these sort of values today.
I think everybody has to find their own answers. I don't think there's an answer.
Right.
I think everybody has to find an answer.
No, I do remember one answer you gave me at that point of time.
I don't think I want to remember whatever answer I gave you. I don't know what answer it was, but
I
it
do
probably
remember.
was. I have no
It's-
idea what it was, but I probably wouldn't want to remember it.
I'll tell you. Love has a foundation of respect, mutual respect, which is a given. And without respect, there is no love. This is sort of something that puts, I mean, we are talking about this roaming around the trees, and that is not the sort of love we are talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
We're talking about a deep respect for each person's space and personality and ability to accept. I mean, these are certain paradigms which, as you say, keep changing generation to generation. I remember you telling me this.
We were in 8th standard, Krishna.
No.
8th standard. You really want me to dredge out what I told you when you were in 8th standard?
No, this discussion didn't happen when we were in 8th standard.
Probably did.
This happened much later.
Then we probably were being replenished by some golden fluids. So I don't think we should go into that.
Okay, right. That was a different take because I'm sure students out here would be interested in...
I don't think I would be giving them any advice on this score.
Okay, right,
Okay,
fine.
yeah.
We will let them find out for themselves.
Yes.
Right. Anyway, as you mentioned, Gen Z has their own rituals, and I'm sure they have some rituals in this regard also.
Yes.
And that's how they discover relationships and true value for relationships and find their space in life. So important. Right. I think I would like to end my chat session with Ramana out here, and I'll throw it open to the organizing team to curate the questions. Is the question and answer round ready, guys, the Changemaker Society? We would like the students to come out here and ask the question because this is going live. This whole session is going live and we do not have a camera that can cover the audience. So the student can come out here and ask the question. Given the hand mic and, no, that hums, I think. Take care. You can go to the, come on stage.
So my question to you was that you have worked with so many communities all around the world. So is there something that we people in the society, we have a certain stereotype about tribals and these indigenous communities, which are a lot of times very wrong. So what are some of the things we can just learn from them which can help us become a better society and help sustain the environment?
I'm not so sure about that. I think we can learn as much from them as we can learn from anybody else. I think it starts with realizing that that one can neither learn nor can give advice unless you truly understand the context in which they're living. So the first thing to do when you interact with anybody is to realize that maybe the context they're living in is not the context we are used to, and to invest time in trying to understand the context before either drawing lessons from them or giving them advice. Right? So that's what I would say, to invest time in trying to get into their shoes first before further interaction. Yeah. And I think respect is an important step to start with, as in all human interactions.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
The next one. You can come out here and ask. Yeah, it's switched off.
Hello. Yeah. So my question is regarding the wildlife discovery. How much wildlife do you think is still left undiscovered in India, and how much research and progress will it take to know about them?
It's a difficult question to answer. For example, 2003, 2004, they described a new species of monkey. You know, a monkey is not small, it's a big animal, and that was still undescribed in 2004. 2006, you saw the bird, it's a very colorful bird, that was only described in 2006. Also a frog, one of my friends described from the same place in 2009. So, but these are relatively big animals, even a frog. It's easy to, when you see, to know that it's probably new. But when you talk of moths, when you talk of insects, when you talk of fish, we simply don't have enough information to even understand which is new and which is not new. In fact, there's a somewhat funny statement people make that in a tropical forest, it's easy to find a new species. It's more difficult to find out what is new and what is not new, because so many are still undescribed. So, which is why when I work in conservation, I don't work at the level of species. We work at the level of conserving the landscape itself, because we don't know what is all there. So if you conserve the landscape itself, all the species in it would be conserved. So that's my focus is not about a single species like a tiger or a lion or a rhinoceros or a red panda. We look at conserving a whole landscape, and that's for that reason. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I would advise the organizing committee, we have the curated questions. You don't waste time on between each one. You can go ahead and ask one after the other. The questions that you were, you curated and selected. Yeah.
So my question is, a lot of photographers, they go into the wildlife, and even though they want to discover new kinds of species or maybe just do bird watching, they kind of tend to disturb the ecosystem. So where can we draw a line between those two things?
So I think there are photographers who indulge in unethical practices. On the other hand, I also think there are a lot of photographers who do ethical work, and they bring images of the wilderness to our homes that we can see without going there. So those are very individual thing. I mean, it depends on each individual whether he's being ethical or not. But what I do notice nowadays is the tendency to brand all photographers as evil in some sense, and I don't agree with that. I think photographers have a role to play. In fact, if I remember right, Krishna, one of your students from PESIT is one of the most well-known photographers in the country.
Yeah, Kalyan Verma.
Kalyan Verma is a very, very famous photographer. And I'm sure a lot of people have been encouraged to conserve nature through the efforts of people like him.
Right.
Would such photography have caused some even small amount of damage to the nature? Maybe it has. But I think the good that it does sometimes, many times far outweighs the small amount of interference into nature that any visit or a photography or any kind of intervention does. But yes, there are ethical limits that one should prescribe. But these limits are somewhat gray. It's very variable depending on the context, but I would be very hesitant to say that all photography is bad or all tourism is bad and so on. I think there is a place for each of these, and they have to have their limits. And how to draw the limits is an exercise in itself. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you have spent so many years in wild. Can you share some of the dangerous experiences you faced? Like you were watching bird, but a tiger was watching you. Something like that.
I haven't had really any dangerous experience. I mean, it's so some of the things I do, which had I not done, could have led to dangerous situations. For example, I never go out alone into the forest. Even if it's a forest where I've worked for the last 20 years, when I go to the forest, I take somebody with me. Because no matter how familiar you are, you could simply fall into a ditch, break a leg, and you'd be stuck there for a day or two, if nobody knows where you are, right? So these are some of the simple rules. Always go with somebody else. When you see an animal which could be dangerous, keep a certain distance. Don't go very close to get a great photograph. So simple rules like this, I really haven't faced any dangerous situations. I will not discuss some of the situations in which I came out looking stupid, But dangerous situations have not been, I can't think of any really life-threatening situation. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
But what was that last one?
Never mind.
Hi, sir. So, since we have a lot of researches which we do in our university, and we have a lot of research which we are doing right now, so is there any tips and tricks which we can follow when we're doing any research regarding nature or science?
Oh yes, curiosity, commitment,
Yeah.
hard work. This is the same rules which have been there. Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen X, Boomer, 200 years ago. It's really simple things. Follow your curiosity. But more than anything else, I think it's what leads to success is commitment and effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really, I'm giving you a canned answer because it's the best answer I can give.
The way we do research nowadays is using ChatGPT or getting information from Google or something
Sure.
like that.
It's a question of how you translate that into something useful. As long as you can translate that into something useful, either for this generation or the future generation, it doesn't matter how you reach it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Okay.
much, sir.
So, sir, apart from the audience, we had a Google form circulated, and few of those topics were focused on a similar topic. And one of those was, is it okay to also care for invasive species, even though they are destroying the rest of the species around them, like the giant African land snail? Is there a better option than killing them? So this is one of the topics which was repeated more than once.
So invasives, as a conservationist, I'm not particularly, don't get into the question of whether something should be killed or not. For me, killing something is not an ethical question, but killing something for a useless reason is, I think, unethical. Right? We all kill things every day. We eat meat. We build houses where we've driven away the wilderness. As I said, I used to come to this place for bird watching a lot. There are very few birds here. So anything with utility provides some justification for any damage you do to another species. If you can get that utility, or if you ask yourself the question, do we really need to do this because it might damage something else, that's already a good step forward. So in that manner, invasives for me are things to be uprooted and excluded, because invasives often lead to devastation of local species. And so it is often the larger good for the largest number. And in that sense, I have no hesitation in saying invasive species should be removed. Yeah.
So there was another topic which was repeated many times, which was saying that where do we draw a line between emotions and wildlife conservation or rescue? So this was a topic which is asked by many people, that where do we draw a line? So about that.
So I don't think there's a line. Emotions and logic have two separate utilities in the human mind. All my work was in Arunachal Pradesh was fueled by emotion, and the way it was implemented was through logic as far as I could. So I think emotions play a very important role in human life. Emotion drives a lot of our energy, but the strategies you come up with, maybe you want to be more logical there. But I don't think anybody ever is either fully emotional or fully logical. It's always a mix of the two.
So instead of drawing a line, a mix of the two emotions would give
a mix of the two, while keeping your goal in clarity regarding the goal is the important thing. Yeah, okay.
And one unique question I found out was, can the technology used in radio astronomy, like signal detection, be adapted to track biodiversity or rare birds in dense forests? So this was a very unique, which was a mix of both your topics and presented in a very nice way.
Yeah, so this has already been used for the last 50 years. Radio tracking of animals is pretty much used as a radio antenna. So GPS is another technology which is related to radio astronomy. I'm not saying it is, but it's very related to the transmission of radio waves through space. So I think technology is being used in many situations. Some of it would be in common with astronomy. Infrared cameras were first developed for the military, and the best infrared cameras were used by astronomers. The technology was pushed by astronomers and the military. Actually, it was funded by the military, and astronomers developed some of the best infrared cameras. Used a lot in heat detection in wildlife biology, for example. So I think the whole point is that once you develop a technology, there are a lot of smart people in the world who will use it in many different situations. So in that sense, which is also what the first question we started out with, you can do a lot of research with technology. You don't have to be a physicist or a chemist or a biologist to do good research, because technology is often essential for doing good research. So as an engineer, you can contribute a lot to research. Yeah.
Those were are the most frequently repeated questions we had, so I just brought it out.
Sure. Yeah.
Open to the audience. Anybody, it's now open. If you want to come and ask a question, please come. We want you to come here because the live chat show wouldn't happen. Please come here. Yeah. No, you can come on the stage because the worldwide audience would like to see you. This is Mr. Mahesh, and he's a linguist. He teaches Japanese and French. Okay.
Yes. Good evening, sir. What can you tell us about the Nancy Grace Roman telescope and how it will change astronomy?
I'm sorry, I have zero understanding of that particular telescope. Okay, sorry, yeah.
So I've heard that Hubble and James Webb Space Telescope, they focus on very narrow sections of the sky, whereas this telescope, it can do a grand survey. So
that is true. The move has been towards larger and larger wide field images. So the two strategies that astronomers use is to either see deep or see wide. So you rightly pointed out that James Webb and Hubble looked very deep, but a lot of ground-based telescopes can't look as deep, so they focus on having wider fields of view. And that has become possible because now you can have arrays of CCDs, not just one CCD chip, but many, many different CCDs placed side by side in a grid. And so one is trying to get more and more information. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, guys and girls of the Gen Z, come on. Yes, Madhukar, you are the most Gen Z out here. Please come. Ramana, Madhukar is one of the most popular guys around in campus.
Krishna, stop pulling my leg, please. Dr. Ramana, just wanted to request you some words of encouragement or advice to our Gen Z crowd over here. So when they, in a world of 6-figure and 7-figure salaries, how would you encourage them to get into the kind of passion and the kind of areas that you have gone into?
You want a serious answer? Please earn those 7-figure salaries and donate some money to our research. No, more seriously, no, I think that's a valid question. Sorry, that is a flippant answer, but only partly flippant. I think one of the things I've understood over the last 20 years is that nature conservation has to be a collaborative effort. It has to be a collaborative effort between people who have generated resources, your 6 and 7 and 8-figure salaries, and people who have spent time. They're two different resources actually, time and money. And I think one can contribute in different ways. You can lead a very interesting and useful life while earning very little. On the other hand, you can earn a lot of money and use it to help people who are achieving things that you believe in, that I'm just saying you believe in, and help them take it further. So I think both those things are important.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, have you bothered about your physical fitness?
Sorry?
Have you really bothered about your physical fitness?
It's a nasty question.
No, because you're in the wildlife and
there are several levels of physical fitness. One is to say, I want to age gracefully without my joints creaking and organs giving up one by one, every few years, which I try to. I don't always succeed. But on the other hand, the fact that I have to go into the forest, climb the mountains, already pushes me to be fit at a certain level.
Right.
Right?
That's exactly why I was
So
asking
that's like, to use a Hindi word, that's masburi. Like you're forced to do it anyway. So to that extent, yes. But beyond that, periodically I try to go
Binge.
beyond that. I provide a lot of entertainment to people in the gym every few months. Doesn't last more than a few weeks, but I try.
Okay. Another thing that
one of the problems in having a person interviewing you who knew you from childhood is a lot of nasty questions come through.
Well, that's what I'm supposed to be asking, right? Okay, now we were discussing this, me, Vijendra, and Ramana. We used to read a lot of this. I don't know if this crowd reads Hardy Boys. Have you heard of Hardy Boys?
No.
They don't. You know about Hardy Boys? No. We used to have some 70, 80 and odd.
They don't even know asterisks, so it's okay.
There used to be a detective series about Frank Hardy and Joe Hardy. They're called the Hardy Boys, and their father was a detective, and these both boys would end up doing detective stuff, and easily some 70 to 80 and odd. And we used to take pride in saying that we've read the latest one, this one, that one. I've read 50, I've read 60 and all that. Just want to impress upon the generation what is the beauty of reading books.
Certainly from somebody who's born in the last century, reading books has been a very important part of my life. I don't see people nowadays reading as many books. I don't know whether there's just an issue with the current generation or the mode of transmission of knowledge has changed. The mode of transmission of knowledge in the last 10 years is through video clips. It is not with books.
Right.
As I said, as somebody who was born in the last century, I find that uncomfortable.
Right.
But I have no definitive way of saying this is good or bad. I don't know. I would still encourage people to read a lot of books because reading books gives you the space to think while you're reading.
Right.
But audio-visual clips, they capture your imagination, but they don't provide you the space to think as you're absorbing the information.
Very true.
But again, it's a generational gap which I'm very reluctant to be very definitive about. I don't know. But my personal thing is I'm more comfortable reading a book than seeing a YouTube video. Yeah.
No, I do remember, I don't know if this generation would understand. When you read a book, the screenplay happens in your mind. You don't have a ready-made screenplay as you see in a movie. But the moment a book is translated into a movie, the screenplay is done and over. There's nothing left to imagine.
Yeah, I agree. But as I said,
I remember reading Alistair MacLean's Where Eagles Dare. It looked infinitely more exciting when we read the book.
Then when you saw the movie.
When you saw the movie, right? When you see the movie, this is what he described. I was imagining something else. But I found more beauty in what I imagined rather than accepting that this is what he was trying to say.
I agree with you, but as I said, it's a generational shift. I don't know. I agree with you. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I have no idea whether that's the way it is and that's the way it will continue.
No, it's a fervent request, whether it is textbooks, even read textbooks, some really good books where the subject is told like a story rather than a set of notes which give you an answer to a question doesn't help you learn anything at all. Even a subject on a deep topic like thermodynamics or physics, if you read it like a story, I'm sure it's worth the while. I don't think the generation they're like to see, they're more a visual generation.
It is true. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But actually what changed my opinion a lot about this is the development of AI, the ChatGPT and its clones.
Okay.
I don't think we should look at it in the light of the experience we've had with the way we learn things.
Okay.
I think it's just a very different way of doing things.
Okay.
It's one I'm not comfortable with, but I think the problem is with me. Okay. It's not about the technology. It is changing.
Okay.
And it will just create a large amount of potential for many more things than we possibly had because this tool wasn't there.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm sorry. As I get older, I don't know seems to be more common in my vocabulary than it used to be 40 years ago. I mean, I lectured you about love when I was in 8th standard. I wouldn't do it anymore.
Right. I mean, it's nice to accept that we don't know and age gracefully. I think it's been engrossing, right? Listening to Dr. Ramana speak, and I do remember this conversation with Kalyan Verma. You were mentioning Kalyan Verma, and Kalyan was my student in mechanical engineering, and he came and gave me a piece of his mind, saying, "Sir, what you taught in thermodynamics, I don't remember anything, sir. Right now I'm into wildlife photography." He discovered his space. And he was mentioning, "Sir, I'm into wildlife photography," and then I said, "I have a friend, man, who would also be into bird watching and wildlife and all that, and his name is Ramana." I said, "Sir, are you talking about Ramana M. Atreya?" I said, "Yes, yeah, Ramana M. Atreya." I said, "Do you even know about him?" "Yeah, I know that he was my classmate." He went on to describe your achievements, and I also heard that the BBC had done a movie on you regarding some conservation project.
That was that movie I showed on that Attenborough's. That was a David Attenborough talking about our project.
Right,
yes.
right, and that's what Kalyan mentioned, and that's when sort of it all came into perspective. Just throwing it open to the students again. Find your space in life. Discover the other part of you that wishes to explore, and bring into context the environment around you and all the need to earn money. And as Ramana mentions, earn a lot of money, and if you can't use it for the sort of stuff that you thought you want to use it, at least help the people who are working in that area. That's a great takeaway from this chat show. Again, you would not want to earn a lot of money and do a lot of good conservation work itself. That may not get you the money, but it's still going to give you a very nice, healthy life. It's another way of leading it.
And not just conservation, a lot of social contributions one can make with technology, with money, with all kinds of contributions.
Right. So nice. Okay, so thank you very much. Once again, with this, we come to the end of this engrossing session with Dr. Ramana M. Atreya. You were listening to Ramana speak about his journey through biodiversity, wildlife, radio astronomy, and all. This was brought to you by the Changemaker Society of PES University. To the worldwide audience, this is Dr. V. Krishna signing off. Thank you all very much. Let's give a big round of applause for Dr. M. Ramana.
Thank you.
So thank you to the two amazing speakers we had today, Ramana sir and VK sir. I hope all the audience enjoyed and had a very good time. You know, it's a change of topic from what we usually study at college, and it's like something which sparks up the curiosity of our minds even in this generation. And thank you so much for being a part of it. I hope both of you enjoyed likewise.
I enjoyed being here. Thank you.
And we have a small memento from our side to be presented to you on behalf of the Changemaker Society through VK sir. We'll be getting it. So since you're a huge wildlife fan, a small piece of the nature itself. All the faculties, please join us on the stage for this. A small PS memento as well. Request all the core team also to join us for the photograph after this. All the CMS for core team, please join us on stage. I request the audience also to join us after the core photograph. All volunteers and members of CMS, please be on stage. So thank you to everyone who's been a part of this and helping us organize, be a part of it as an audience, and as well two amazing guests and the faculty who has attended all throughout and enjoyed the words Ramana sir spoke. I thank everyone who's here for coming up and enjoying. I hope you had an amazing chat show with the two amazing faculties we had and our guests. So thank you and have a good day, everyone.